basis, some of it is true, but a lot of it is false. And because we do not communicate with our youth and with our fellow brothers and sisters, oftentimes they get the wrong information and they go out under the impression that they're doing something right. Then, lo and behold, they get an STD, don't know who to talk to, or worst case scenario, they will contract the virus that causes AIDS. Now, I know that it's uncomfortable. Oftentimes talking about sex with another person can be uncomfortable. And oftentimes, a lot of us are raised that is just not a subject you talk about in your household. But since drugs, the media, peer pressure, outside influences now is taking hold of our youth, it is important that we have this honest discussion. I would rather you all have the honest discussion, as uncomfortable as it may be, to avoid that difficult situation when you have to care for somebody who has contracted HIV and AIDS. And because the disease is diverse and each individual is unique in how they contract and how their bodies deal with the disease, you will run a gamut of responses. There are individuals who contract the disease and go on with their daily lives. Then there are individuals, because of the multiple STD'S, STIs, they have contracted and have broken down their immune system so bad to where the disease really devastates them. Now, that is my business to aid individuals who have contracted the disease. And oftentimes you get double. Oftentimes they'll have HIV and they'll contract cancer. Or they'll have HIV and they'll get diabetes. Or if any organ in their body was weak, the HIV and the medicines attack that. So you have individuals who will contract HIV and suddenly has to be placed on dialysis. So to me, it's worth the conversation. If I can talk to you in the beginning and make you understand that I'm doing it with love, but I'm doing it with concern. Now, a lot of the grandparents that we have spoken to, for the reason of the drug epidemic, has become the caregiver of grandchildren. How many of you in here are assisting with the care of your grandchildren by show of hands? So that means that your grandchildren is going to rely upon you to take that place of that missing father or mother in ensuring they're raising their rent. So it's important. And we oftentimes sit and talk with individuals on how to come up with the subject or the topic or lead into it. Because oftentimes when you ask the question, oh, Grandma, I ain't doing that. So why are you staying on the telephone with this little boy for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours? Now, we know they don't have the best intentions in the world. And their minds are focused upon one thing and one thing only. But we need to have that discussion about condom use for the young girls' birth controls. Also taking the shot for the hepatitis virus. And there's more things that our youth have to worry about now. In the olden days, you either called syphilis or gonorrhea and it was okay. Now you have trichomonas. Now you have herpes, multiple herpes. You have chlamydia. You got a whole host of other diseases leading up to HIV and AIDS that our youth need to be made aware about. Now the school system is letting providers such as us come in and kind of have a frank discussion with the youth. Can't give them any condoms, but we can give them information. So now, this is an I statement. This is my personal belief. If I'm going to tell you to abstain and know you're not going to abstain, then I need to provide you with some other materials and tools when that urge hits you that you just couldn't control. At least I can feel comfortable knowing that you had protection. And let's be frank. Can I be frank with you all?
Yes, please.
I don't care what you tell them. When that sweet music go to whispering in their ear, and their bodies go to reacting, they worry about you later after they done that. Now in the heat of the moment, they ain't thinking about what mama and daddy told them. All they want to do is satisfy that urge. That's the reality of it. We would like for them to abstain. We would like for them to keep themselves pure until they find that right person. But if you listen at Eminem and Dougie Fresh and all these other kind of people, they're talking about drop it like it's hot and get down with it now and it's okay and all this other kind of stuff. And these kids are listening to that.
That's right.
And they think it's all right. When you talk about the various artists and football players and politicians that's engaging in all these sex acts, going to these brothels, paying for sex, they think it's okay. And let's be real about it. Our youth is led by example. And oftentimes it's the wrong example. If they would follow our example, then it would be better for them. But they listen at JoJo on the corner.
Yeah.
Or they listen at Susan over here because she's not being supervised, nobody's talking to her, and she's running rampant. So this other little girl figures it's okay. Or what about these young boys that's on these football teams, and these other young boys come back and talk about the conquests that they had, even though it may be a lie. So they're suffering from peer pressure to go out there and follow their example. So we need to have this frank conversation. If they are having sex, make sure they understand about protecting themselves and getting regular checkups and get tested. The young ladies should abstain, be on birth control, or use protection. Right now, I have a friend of mine's daughter, loves her little girl, but regrets it because it's hampering her from finishing her college education. I said, the child didn't ask to come here. We got to deal with it. But oftentimes they make these hasty decisions, leading by peer pressure, to only regret it later. And what happens? You all think y'all in the prime of y'all life. I'm raising my children. I'm going out here and enjoying life. I'm going to go travel. And I'm going to go do this, that, and another. And lo and behold, y'all are in-house babysitters. So you can't go to bingo as often as you want them. Because you got to watch little Stephanie. And she's too bad to bring the bingo because you can't keep up with the cars because you're running all over putting her out. But what do we do in our communities? We give help and aid to our children and our grandchildren when they need it. So that's a further sacrifice that you all will be making. So if we have that conversation in the beginning, we don't have to go sit down in the clinic while this individual is going to see the doctor to get their treatment for their HIV infection. If we make sure that they're aware of the options and the choices that are there, no matter how uncomfortable the conversation may be, then we won't have to sit beside the bedside of an individual that's on a dialysis machine that's got an IV in their arm. Because for that one fleeting moment of passion, they made the wrong decision. It's important. It's important to talk about decisions. And if you're going to make that decision, understand the consequences of making it if you make the wrong choice.